I need this. Hey, how we doing, guys? This is Aaron Bennett with Hacknation Live. Every Wednesday we do this from 7 to 9 Central Time. You probably already know, but I am Aaron Bennett, the owner of Hacknation, diesel engine repair shop out of San Antonio, Texas, formerly from North Dakota, formerly from Fairbanks, Alaska. If you don't know who I am, a little back history. We owned a trucking company for a long time, running from Fairbanks up to Prudhoe Bay. And then ultimately went down to North Dakota and ran the oil field in North Dakota, always oil field. Good evening, farm boy. And then eventually we hung up the trucking and just did building engines full time. There was a time when we were doing both, and eventually we transitioned into just doing engine building. So anyway, this is a call-in show. For the best show you can have, we encourage you, if you're on TikTok, to go over to Facebook and YouTube, watch it over there. I have figured out a way to include you in the caller if you're on TikTok, so it might be a decent show over there as well. We'll have to see how it goes. Anyhow, the call-in number, guys. This is a call-in show. I do this. The main reason I do this is because I get inundated throughout the week by people that call just hoping to ask me questions. God damn! What else with all these people trying to join my live? Anyway, I get inundated with calls all week of people that just want to ask me random questions. So we started this show just to be able to help as many people as we can. And so that's what we're doing here, is trying to help people that need help, or just to talk about the trucking industry in general, or maybe just to get to know me. I don't know. The number to call in, guys, if you do want to participate in the show, is 573-422-4225. That's 573-422-4225. What's my thought on the MP8? I don't have much thoughts on that engine. I've never owned one. I have never rebuilt one. How you doing, Joseph? Long story short, I wouldn't want to own one either. Not enough places work on them. They're not necessarily a bad engine in their own right, but I wouldn't want to own a truck with one because you basically have a one-off, which makes it complicated. It's kind of like owning a Mac. If you live in certain places in the United States, especially down in the South, owning a Mac, you can kind of get away with it, but you're not going to take that Mac around all 50 states and have very good luck. No, I don't have different internet. This is the same shitty internet as always. I did order Starlink, but it'll be here for the next show. I ordered it a week ago, but they told me a week and a half lead time. So, how we doing, buddy? Again, guys, this is a call-in show. The number to call in is 573-422-4225. There's nobody on hold, and currently, I'm in Newfoundland, Canada. How much for a C15 twin turbo? If you're asking me how much for the entire engine, excuse me, guys, that's about the only thing I don't like to do on this show is talk about selling stuff. I sell stuff all week long, sell services, sell myself, sell parts, sell products. This is the one time when I can come hang out with everybody and not be a salesman. So that's what I try to do. Not that I'm not flattered that people contact me here and just, want to know how much for one of my engines, this and that, but get a hold of us, guys. We'll talk to you. Most of the time, you're going to get a chance to talk to me in person. I can give you a consultation on an engine as well. So, roundabout price. It kind of depends on what you want from us. They can go anywhere from 54 all the way up to 73. So, there you go, guys. What would be the difference between those? Starting out at your baseline, your 54 would just be a stock build, but it would still have ceramic coated pistons, Teflon rods and mains, ceramic manifold, ceramic turbo, but they would all be stock, so to speak, right? You upgrade that to the 60 something range. That same engine's going to come with like monotherm pistons instead of, get rid of the skirts. Same engine. It's going to have a performance turbo, performance manifold, and a few other upgrades, full match injectors, this and that. Um, then if you want to get all the way up there to the higher priced ones, those ones are going to have mirror polished everything. They're going to be balanced rotating assemblies, so on and so forth. So we build them kind of all over the place. Um, so it really just comes down to what a guy's looking for. So will you coat parts for a 5.7 liter if I send them to you? The answer to that's yes. Um, we have guys with 5.7s. What liter is the Power Stroke? We got Power Stroke ones on the way, and some Cummins 5.7s on the way. When it comes to coat and stuff, we don't care. We don't care if it's medium duty or heavy duty. It's all the same to us. So I just learned this last repair that to change the camshaft in a Packer, they have to remove the entire engine. Yeah, what a bitch. What a bitch for sure. Can I use CPL 3939 for the overhaul? I'd have to scroll back here just a little bit and see what your first question was. CPL 3937. Um, you can, but you have to figure out what all the differences are on your 3939 versus your 3937. It might be a different cam, could be different injectors, different piston crown. You might, I mean, some are so extreme. Some of the gears are different. So theoretically, though, any ISX can be built into whatever CPL you want. You just have to make sure that you're doing all of the steps, not just maybe just the crowns or something like that. So, our B model cat's cheap to overhaul? Yes and no. Yes, on the factor that as all the cats go, the B model is one of the most cost effective when it comes to the overall price of the parts. Your kit's a little cheaper, head's a little cheaper, even. Um, your parts in general on it are usually a little cheaper, um, less expensive rather. But you usually run into a pretty big problem of there's hardly anybody left alive or still working rather that even knows how to work on them. So that's one of the bigger problems with the B model. And if you have to start getting into your pump and you're getting into your lifters and push rods and camshaft and start getting into all that stuff, it can get dramatically more um, cost prohibitive than doing a regular C15. You got to remove the kind of like that Packard has to come out of the truck just to do the camshaft. Well, the entire front of the engine has to come off to do the camshaft on a B model. So, it's a little give and take there. Yeah, it's kind of like the old big cams in the N14s. Their parts list, the upfront cost is dramatically more cost effective than, say, your ISX right behind it. But depends on how deep you get into it. It can become more cost prohibitive than it's um, is the later engines. Like the ISX. That you have those rocker box on the side. Those are kind of expensive, and the camshaft has to come out the front. You got to rip everything off. Depends on what you got to do to them. But apples to apples, basic in frame. The older the engine, the more cost effective it's going to be. Apparently, the original cams on the Packard are multi-piece cams bolted together. It's not exactly what they are, but there's a different way to say that, and you would be correct. You can spin individual lobes on a Packard camshaft. It's a wonky design. It's pretty shitty, for sure. It's not really, they're not put together the way that you worded it, but close enough. The Packard is definitely a wonky system there. What would you suggest for truck motor to someone that is looking at buying their own truck for pulling hopper bottom and cattle pots? Uh, what would I suggest for truck? I mean, that's the most common question I get is what truck should I buy? No one can answer that question for you, but I'll take a little stab at it here. And what I would say is, um, the way that I always truck shopped, and I have owned a lot of trucks, the way I always truck shopped was within a certain amount of years, and that was from 99 to '07. Uh, if it didn't fall in those years, I wasn't interested in it. And if it did fall into those years, then I was looking for the engine. What I worried about was the engine. So I was looking for a cat, and I would be not necessarily totally against an N14. I owned both of those multiple times over. And, but you guys got to understand, I was always willing on day of purchase of a truck. Every single truck I ever bought, I pulled it in the shop and I didn't even waste my time looking it over. I did new drag links, new cross links, new torsion arms, new brakes, drums. Um, the only things I might check instead of just outright doing them, and all new shocks, airbags wherever it was applicable, sleeper bags for sure, sleeper shocks for sure. The only things I would check and not just outright do them is my kingpins and my um, leaf spring shackles. And most of the time, you end up having to do those because you buy trucks that old, they're fucking clapped out just the way it is, right? So I always figured into the cost of whatever truck that I was going to put another 15, 12 to 15 into it the day I bought it because I didn't want to do those things over time. And you're throwing drivers in the trucks and this and that, and then you're having to deal with all that bullshit. Get all that stuff out of the way. Then you're just focusing on major stuff, and you don't have a truck that's down 15 times in 1 week for petty, stupid shit. So, you know, um, there's a bunch of different ways to look at how you're going to go buy a truck. And one of the ways is one of the biggest mistakes guys make is they'll run out and buy a truck based on the engine, or based on the truck, and they won't even factor in all the other stuff, and that so many guys will go out there and buy a truck, and the entire truck is clapped the fuck out, and all they bought was an engine and oh man, this internet! I cannot wait for Starlink. Anyway, guys, we got a couple calls in. We'll see how that works out. Hopefully, it does work out. So let's go ahead and grab a caller here. See if I can remember how I did that last time. Hello, you're on the air, brother. What can we do for you?
Which I've got a glider with a 2WS cat in it, just shy of 700,000. And at nighttime, I run the air condition. I don't idle the truck a whole lot, but I just want your opinion on this. I kick that switch on when I go to bed, bump her up to about 950 or 1,000. That puts me at about 70 pounds on the oil pressure, and let that fan run all night with the AC on. It maintains 190 all night long. What's your thoughts on that?
Well, I guess I don't understand. What's my thoughts on what exactly?
Keep on and on, as your head pressure builds and decreases, with the AC running. Just leaving the fan switch on all night long for like 6-8 hours at a time.
I mean, I certainly wouldn't do that because I can't imagine a scenario where you wouldn't be cooling the engine off too substantially and wet stacking while you're sleeping.
on the exhaust, and it maintains 190 throughout the night. You know, about running here in the Midwest and out west with the humidity. You know, I just get tired of hearing the fan kicking in and out every so often, so I just leave the switch on. I didn't, you know, I just kind of want your opinion on that. That ain't really hurting anything, I don't guess, is it? Other than maybe saving my fan clutch a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, you know, in theory, all engines are the same, but we all know that's not actually how it works in reality, right? You're going to have this truck might run at 200 degrees all the time. This truck will never get over 160 degrees, and the guy's fighting it all the time. You know, there's just a myriad of factors that could affect all that. So, if it's working for you, no one can, you know, far be it for me to sit here behind a mic and tell you that you can idle a truck all night with the fan running all night and keep it at 190 and it never goes below 190.
Been listening to you here for a while, and I hear you're a stickler on the fan switch for pulling hills and shit. I don't kick it on. I let her. She kicks in at about 220 or so, but I bump this truck up to 1,000 degrees or 1,000 RPM, and it will set at 190 all night long. And in the wintertime, if it's below 15 degrees and I let it run, then it'll get up to 220 degrees and the fan will kick on, even in the middle of Wyoming at, you know, when it's down, like I said, 15 degrees or so. I always idle it up. I don't ever just low idle it. I'm always running at either 9.5 or 1,000 RPM, wherever my oil pressure is, you know, mimicking what it is going down the road. And I got nothing special about it. Like I said, it's a 99 2WS it's in a glider, so there's nothing special about it, you know. It's all pretty much however Cat built it.
Yeah, for sure. And again, like I said, far be it for me to sit behind a microphone and tell you what your truck's doing, right? No doubt about that. You know, it doesn't seem very plausible, but it certainly is possible. And if it's working for you, then why worry about it? You know, it comes down to what the temperature of the engine is, not about whether I think you should have your fan on or not or anything like that. I guess my only question would be why do you leave the fan on at all? Why bother? Just let it kick in and out on its own.
Yeah, that's true, but it kicks in and out, wakes you up, you know, I kind of get used to it throughout the night. Plus I figured kicking it on when that fan's running, isn't that kind of on your AC, isn't that kind of maintaining a steady pressure there? Aside from the fact that it's, you know, less wear and tear on the fan clutch, it's got a Horton on it from the glider company. You know what I'm saying?
I mean, I'm sure there's some truth to that, but you're splitting hairs there. We're talking, you know, how much longer life you're going to get out of it. Well, you already can get 20 years out of a Horton fan hub. You know, it'll probably rust out before. I mean, yours will probably rust out before it wears out. And I mean, what's the, you know, you get what I'm saying? I mean, it's but I mean, to get to the point though, if it's working for you, don't let me stop you.
I hear you. Well, I have to listen to you. I definitely, I no longer let the truck warm up, you know, like I used to. I fire it up and kind of get going. I don't lose air or nothing. I kind of get it up to operating temp as quick as I can, you know, not by hot rodding it, but you know what I mean. But I've got an oil leak question here on the spacer plate, if you got time.
Hit me with it.
So at 585,000, I had Caterpillars. I was pushing coolant, and they ended up saying head gasket, and put a new head on it, and 6 injectors. That's beside the point, but a new head on it and head gasket, and less than 100,000 miles. later, it started bleeding oil from about the number 1 all the way back to about the number 5 on the intake side. And it's what I mean by bleeding is it's not puddling, but it's coming from not above the spacer plate, but below the spacer plate.
Yeah.
And it's just kind of getting wet right through there, and it never did that before, obviously.
Yeah, that's one of the most common things you see across the board on every cat ever built by pretty much everybody in existence. And the fail point is the skinny 10 thousandths thick spacer shim that goes underneath the spacer plate, and oil is able to weep out and come down the side of the block. It is harder to find a cat engine that's not doing that than it is to find one that, it's harder to find one. Yeah, it's harder to find one that's not doing it than one that, isn't. So, the engines that we build here, they never have that happen. I have never built an engine, a cat engine, in my entire life that had weepage coming down the side of the block. Never once. And it is only because we use aviation paste on both sides of the spacer plate. I see a lot of guys mimicking that. When I first started out building engines, it was something that Cat was suggesting at the time. They have since stopped suggesting that. In fact, they kind of stopped suggesting it right away. But I never stopped doing it. And we have, 800,000 engines running around out there. And not a one of them, I've never seen an engine that we built have that weepage problem, but all of them will do it if you don't use the aviation paste. I don't care how good of a job you did building it.
Well, you're going to have 801,000 when I'm ready for some engine work, because I'm going to come see it. On that weepage, I mean, this truck didn't do it when I got it new. I built it new, bought it new from a glider company there in Kentucky. And honestly, this is a really dry engine. I mean, I didn't have any seepage anywhere for quite some time. But with that being said, what I got going on, I was kind of concerned if they maybe rolled an O-ring or something, going back together. But it's not. It's just I'm kind of a stickler on cleanliness there under the hood. I'm not one of them to let shit go. You know what I mean? And it's just kind of messy, and they clean it off from time to time. And
there's nothing they could have done different other than what I mentioned. Some of the best engine builders some of the best engine builders in the United States, engines have the same problem. There's nothing that you can physically do about it by doing a better job building the engine. I don't fault anybody that has that going on with their cat engine. I don't look at them and go, "Whoa, those guys don't know what they're doing." It's quite simply, you either put aviation paste on it and don't ever have the problem, or you don't put the aviation paste on, and no matter how good you are at it, you're going to have that problem. It's that simple.
Okay. Well, it don't seem to be getting any worse or anything. So, I mean, I'm running it. I mean, there's really nothing to be concerned about there other than the mess, unless it does kind of break loose and get worse.
It's not, the odds of it getting worse are incredibly small. It's really not an issue. It just is annoying as fuck.
I'll let you get on to the next guy, and I appreciate your time there, Mr. Nation.
All right, man. Have a good night and good luck. All right. We got 4 more people on hold, guys. The number to call in is 573-422-4225. Do all truck drivers sound the same? Most people sound the same when they're driving in a vehicle and it's coming over the phone. So, anyhow. Is there no options to build a new glider with the powertrain that I want? No, there is no options to build new gliders. It depends on how you interpret the EPA's rulings. Guys, I'm not a lawyer. I am not legal counsel. I'm just going to tell you how it is interpreted, or not how it's interpreted, but how it's written. The way that it's written is the rules apply to the engine. And so you have companies out there that supply stuff to repower your truck with a different engine. And the reason they're able to get away with that for the most part is because you're not adding anything to the registered amount of EPA compliant engines on the market, and you're not taking anything away from it. You take an engine out, you put a different engine in, you haven't added anything to the overall EPA compliance of how many engines are in existence with this emissions or that emissions. So that's the catch. Could somebody start building gliders again if they had good lawyers that knew what they were doing? Probably. You had a lot of people give up and stop building gliders, but you would think someone as big as Fitzgerald was in it, that they probably had decent lawyers, but we saw them quit doing it. So, but there's places out there right now that are building gliders in 2 different states that I know of. And of course, they're doing that by retitling them. But the real reason those guys aren't getting their asses hung out to dry by the EPA is because of the wording revolves around the engine, not around the truck, right? The EPA has a set amount of engines that are known to be operating in, say, the United States, and that's what's regulated, not the truck. The truck itself has no regulation on it. It's just the engine. So, kind of a gray area, but um, one that people exploit. So there you have it. My half-inch tech angle doesn't work well for main cap and head bolts. Most main cap and head bolts are torque to yield. You should probably be using a rattle gun and paint marks. That's usually the best way to do it, in my opinion. Some people will argue. I think that you get a way more accurate job done by using a rattle gun. Too much chance of the threads getting hung up on a burr or something of that nature when you're trying to torque to yield things with a torque wrench rather than using an impact to get your torque to yield. That's my opinion. You do it however you want. All right, guys, there's quite a few callers. We probably better take some of them here, and I'll just keep doing that monkey shit I do over here so the TikTokers can hear the caller, but it seems to be working, so I'll put out the effort for all of us. All right, you're on the air, brother. What can we do for you?
That me, Aaron?
Yeah, man.
All right. Hey, buddy. Hey, we appreciate what you're doing, man. We really appreciate you. If I could, the last caller about the fan at nighttime, I used to run air freight during the night, and I slept during the day. I don't have an APU, so I had to idle my truck. And I got tired of the same deal with him about the fan. I left the fan on all day while I was sleeping, and then when I took off at nighttime, my fuel mileage went to shit. So if he can keep that, for whatever it's worth, but the truck will use more fuel with the fans running. So anyway, other than that,
that's a good point. Your fan is going to, especially a big serpentine fan, can rob up to 35 horsepower from your engine, and it takes fuel to maintain that. You are going to use more fuel even sitting there idling away because that truck's trying to maintain the idle number that you set. You leave the fan on, it has to work harder to maintain that RPM. You are going to use more fuel. That's a good point there, brother.
Right. I'm in Florida right now. I got an idle one, and I can feel the truck rock when the fan comes on. It takes power to run. So anyway, my question, the reason why I called in was, I know you're not trying to sell nothing, so I'll ask you about the 2 turbos that you put on. Got a Series 60, and from my understanding, it has a stock 132 turbo on it. Is that correct? Non-wastegated?
Yeah, I mean, it could.
Well, from what I went through my son's an engineer, mechanical. I give him the part numbers, and he Googled it and whatever, and he said, you already have a 132 turbo on it. So the stage 2, would that be a good fit for a stock Series 60, or do you have to do something different to buy your stage 2 turbo?
Well, I mean, we don't
I
just
bet it gets more boost out of it.
sure. I mean, we have a stage 1 turbo that would probably give you quite a bit more boost than your stock Detroit turbo, despite the fact they're both 32s, right? Your stage 1 turbo, like we're selling, it has a billet wheel. It still has the same super core that the 145 has. The 132 has the same super core. The only I'm picking the housing, or we're picking the housing when we're assembling them. So they are vastly superior to a stock turbo. I mean, if you just looked at the core, the core, you would know immediately. Just looked at the fins, you would know immediately this is a turbo on a totally different level. But no, putting a 78 millimeter 145 on there, you would probably, that truck would struggle like crazy to spool it up, and you would notice a lot of problems, and probably you would have a power decrease. To be honest with you.
I see. I got one more question. So it's a glider. It's a DDAC 4 engine with it's a DDAC 2 turbo, which is non-wastegated. Why? What's the difference? I mean, I know a non-wastegated turbo, you get more power, but by them doing that, did I lose less engine braking power?
No, not at all. Your
No?
wastegate is only there to keep the turbo from overspooling.
Oh,
Your
I see.
your old DDEC 2 didn't put out enough power to overspool the turbo, so that's why they would have went to a wastegated turbo on the later models, because the possibility exists to overspool it.
So right now it has a non-wastegated turbo on it, the DDAC 2 turbo. So I was trying to just understand in my head about the turbos. I guess I'm not really, because the old Cummins, all the Cummins I drove had wastegated turbos, or VTMs, whatever you call it. I'm not sure, but
Yeah, VGT turbo.
the Detroit, I never.
Your VGT turbo, that's a kind of a totally different world than what we're talking about right now, though.
I see. Alrighty. So, and anyway, one more off the top of your head, the Interstatement B kit, if you just want to buy one, or what is it, the AT4, ATP, or ATP, or whatever it is they're selling.
You talking about ATL?
Yes. Your son's trying to sell it, actually.
Oh no, my son's selling. Um, um,
I expect it would be good if his dad approved, or he would put it on there.
I'm having a total brain fart. I can't believe I
I'm
can't
sorry.
remember the brand that he's selling.
AT4 or ATA or AT something.
Oh, AFA. It's AFA.
Yeah, there you go. The kits are about the same, aren't they? I mean, a kit's a kit, right?
So, you guys are never gonna catch me talking shit. Because
I understand. I don't want you to talk shit.
Right, because I have a kit coming out. Here's what I'll say about AFA. Right. Okay. If you ask me to put an AFA kit in your engine, that's what you wanted me to do. I would not change my warranty, and I would have no problem doing it. I don't have any problem with their products at all. I tested a lot of their products. I tested everybody's products. And AFA is as good as any of them,
Right.
What guys got to look at. There's a lot more factors that go into it, though, guys. Right. So let me go into it a little bit more in depth. There's actually some products.
Okay.
There's some products of AFA that I tested that were better than everybody's stuff. Right. So kind of everybody out there had something better than everybody else. You know what I mean? And that was kind of the point of us going out and testing everything, was to see, maybe we can grab a little of this and a little of that, and we can come up with something of our own, having more than one person help, provide us stuff. So we went out and tested shit out of everything. Everybody just about without exception, had something that was better than everybody else's. And AFA was no exception. They had some things that were better than everybody else's. It's just a fact, right? So they all have something going for them. I haven't met an aftermarket kit that I'm scared of yet, but you know, it's not the only factor. There's all kinds of other factors. You know, there's the factors of um, how you know how do they stand behind their product, how do they hold up over time, so on and so forth, right? So it's just like like those prototype turbos. I showed everybody what a week, 2 weeks ago. Those turbos were fucking awesome, man. Those turbos were so cool. I wanted so bad for those to be our turbos. I could taste it, right? But we were all too nervous to go with them because, despite the fact they were so wicked cool, that we don't have any history to go back to and say, okay, these guys stand behind their shit. Their shit holds up over time, and we just weren't willing to make it our flagship product line, you know. And we ultimately were dissatisfied with every single turbo that got provided to us for testing, and we ultimately ended up going with Borg Warner supercores and building our own turbo, basically, but using a reliable cartridge that we know is the best in the industry, right? And so you know, it's kind of, so what am I really trying to say? I'm trying to say, just because something is good doesn't necessarily mean it's what I would prefer to use. But I certainly, you know, I didn't have any problem selling those turbos that were prototypes. I let people buy them up, and I felt good about giving them to people. They were for an awesome discount, and they're badass turbos. You know, you can get an AFA kit. They're priced very well. You know, Interstate McBee also is priced very well. Interstate McBee has great products. AFA has great products. I just had an AFA kit here in my shop just a little bit ago. In fact, I'll be honest with you, I was coding one for my son because he had a customer that was begging him to have me code it. So he brought it over here and we coded it. And it was, you know, it's fun to do and all. Coding's really fun, so I didn't have any problem with it. So I got to tear one all down, and this and that. They're packaged very nice. The products are very good. You know, but the day before that, I was coding an Interstate McBee kit, and I absolutely love Interstate McBee kits, right? And I install PAI kits and stuff around the clock, right? So, you know, there you see what I'm saying?
Yes. Yes. Well, I've had two Interstate McBees. Maybe I'll try the 18, see what it does. But got to get through hurricane season. I live in Florida. We got to get through hurricane season before we do anything, right?
Yep, there you go. Yeah, just reach out.
Hey, man, I appreciate it.
Yep, reach out to my boys at Bennett Truck Center. They'll get you squared away, brother.
I appreciate what you're doing. I got to go. Thank you.
Have a good night. Bye. Somebody asked, would I have Tony from AFA on the show? I don't know. Maybe I would. Tony and I wouldn't say that we're close friends, but I would say that Tony and I are friends. We've been out to dinner a few times. He's a really cool guy. I like Tony a lot. I don't know if I'd have him on the show. I'd much rather have somebody like Andy from Highway and Heavy Parts on the show, obviously, because we're building a parts line together. We've partnered together on a bunch of stuff, so you know, kind of a conflict a little bit to have the owner of another parts manufacturing company on the show. But I might. I wouldn't rule it out completely. He's a cool guy, and very knowledgeable. So anyway, we'll move on here. We have a lot of callers. I see someone in TikTok there. Is that saying they need to ask me some questions? I'll share it again, guys. The number to call the show is 573-422-4225. If you'd like to call in, that's 573-422-4225. We'll go ahead and take a caller right now. Dennis, we're coming over to you, brother. You're on the air. What can we do for you?
Hey, boss. Just got a question. I've got a 17579 old Walmart truck. and sitting about 773,000. It's got a little blow by. I think it's a 4 1/4. It's got like 261 gear ratio. I guess what I'm trying to get at is, are all the X15s like the same platform to where this could be built out to like a 565 or a 605?
The easy answer is yes. The farther you're apart on the horsepowers, this is almost take it to the bank rule of thumb. The farther you are on the horsepowers, the more you have to do to them. Yours would probably take quite a bit. And I don't know unless I'm comparing CPL side by side, but just a guess, you might have to do the turbo, different piston crowns, injectors are probably different, camshaft might even be different. I saw Rob McDowell in the comment. Yeah, I saw Rob McDowell in the comment section a minute ago. He works at Highway and Heavy Parts. He's a great resource for that. He can usually tell you within a few minutes, what all you have to get. He's my go-to guy for that. I'll just call Highway and Heavy Parts, and they can usually give me a side-by-side comparison. You got to have this, and this to achieve the horsepower you're after. Then, of course, you have to have somebody that can put that factory tune in it. Your 605, 600 high torque tune in it. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah. I mean, and I know it's still locked down with all the Walmart parameters and whatnot, between the RPMs and everything like that. It's just something I'm just trying to put some money aside for, and was trying to see, where I could get like the best bang for the buck kind of deal.
Well, that part I can't answer because I don't know where you'd get the best bang for your buck. A guy just asked in the comment section, how much is it to rebuild a pack car? That's the same type of question there. Who knows how much it is? It depends on where you're at, right?
I was just wondering with your kits that are coming out. I know you've got the Cats out, and I figured maybe the Cummins would be coming next. Would that be like a platform that could be, it doesn't necessarily need to be the 565 or the 605. I just need, a little bit more horsepower, get these, parameters, kind of changed in the computer on the shifting and whatnot.
I know.
So I guess more or less, you're
inside our shop. The average ISX overhaul runs somewhere between 17 and 23. That's for ones that just need to be overhauled. Maybe to get a cylinder head, oil pump, in-frame kit. As far as our parts line, Cat, we already were supposed to drop the Cat kits, but Andy went and inspected them. They're already all assembled, and he wasn't happy with some of the packaging. We have some pretty nifty packaging inside of them. That's still evolving, in fact, and he wasn't satisfied with it, so we put it on hold. But within 60 days, we're planning on having all the engine lines out. So that kind of gives you an idea of where we're at with it.
Okay, so it's just going to be like basically a stock kit, nothing like upgraded.
No.
I mean, as far as like the ability to open it up a little bit.
So every kit we're going to offer is going to be coded. I mean, that's whether it's stock or not, right? So we're already doing that. So like let's say you brought a, for example, let's say you brought a 6NZ to my shop and you just wanted it to be stock. Stock for us nowadays is coded bearings, coded pistons, and so on and so forth. But if you wanted it to be a performance 6NZ, we would actually change the piston crown type and quite a few other things.
Uh-huh.
So as far as this stock,
all right.
all of our kits are going to be coded, but that doesn't mean you can go throw 600 horsepower out because you put a different kit in. Still quite a few items that have to be changed over to match the CPL, right?
Yeah, exactly. Well, I think you pretty much answered, what I was looking for. I appreciate your time and everything you do for us.
Yeah, man, I appreciate you as well. You have good luck out there, okay? Have a good night.
Yes, sir. You too.
Bye.
You too. Later.
Oh man, it is so freaking hot in this studio. One of our ACs broke. I got one out. It's just not it's not keeping up. I'm freaking dying here. Love the oil testing. I use shapers in most of the stuff I use. Have you ever tried heating the oil? So many people commented on those oil tests I did that I should heat the oil. One thing I want to let you guys know is that it is insane how fast that oil gets hot. That oil in those trays is astronomically hot, and it does it really fast. So, um, guys, those tests are accounting for oil being hot. It is impressive. In fact, a couple of those tests I did when I took the little pan off, it burnt the shit out of my little dick scanners just getting the pan off. So they get hot. They get hot. And I have a lot more coming. Everybody wants to see Rotella. I want to see Rotella. I'm a huge fan of Rotella for years. I got Rotella coming. I have Oil coming. And I have a few other. I got Mobile Delvac coming. You know, it's hard to find all these oils in a quart. You know, and Mystic, I couldn't find Mystic in anything but a 5-gallon bucket. So I got a 5-gallon bucket of Mystic coming, so I can take this much out of it. But anyway, I got Oil coming. What do you think about ATL? I mean, ATL is just a parts reseller. Um, they're not a parts manufacturer. And they put their name on a lot of stuff and charge a premium for it. They do some funny stuff to some of their products, like they have their Patriot Series cylinder heads where they paint the springs. If someone could explain to me how that benefits anything other than makes you pay more money, I'm all ears. Um, I don't have any problem with ATL other than they claim some of their products are made in the United States, and I know that they're not. That's something you guys aren't ever going to catch me doing, is lying to you about where stuff's made, how it's made, why we decided to do it that way. I'll be the first guys to tell you that the cylinder head that we are going to debut, that I kind of already showed you guys, that cylinder head is a Jarrah cylinder head. It's the same one ATL has. It's the same one PDI has. I don't care how many times PDI denies it. I've looked at their heads. They have the same fucking head. And so on and so forth. Pretty much everybody out there, except for ATL that I know of, sells the Jarrah head. And ATL's is, or not ATL, AFA. ATL has a Jarrah head for sure. And they call it the Patriot Series and paint them yellow and blue or white and whatever the fuck they do, to kind of give you this idea that it's an American made head, and it's not. So it's kind of fucked up advertising, in my opinion. Our flagship cylinder head is a Jarrah head. They make the best heads, so let's not pretend like we're not using that head, since they make the best head. 30% bigger cooling channel in on all platforms, 5% more nickel on all platforms. The only downside to a Jarrah head is they come with Chinese valves that are subpar. Everybody knows it. So everybody takes them out and puts American made Inconel valves in. We all do it. We're doing it. We're just taking ours one step further, and we are blasting them with aluminum oxide and then coating them with Teflon, and then coating the bearings with Teflon as well. So we're not doing anything way different than everybody else. We're just improving the product that already exists. We're taking the best head on the market. Even your diehard cat fans these days will admit that's the best head on the market, and we're just trying to improve on that. What we're not doing is spraying some red, white, and blue paint on it and trying to tell you it's made in the United States. Bunch of bullshit. I can't stand shit like that. You got me going to not that I have any particular problem with them or anybody for that matter. I just don't like shit like that. You know, I don't like PDI telling everybody they have American made head, and when you go and you actually take their head out of the fucking box. It's got Jarrah's stamp right on it. Yes, did they put their name on it too? Yes, but it has the casting mark for Jarrah on it, which means it's made in fucking China. I mean, it is what it is. I'm not ashamed that the head we're selling is made in China. Take the bed. What are you going to do about it? What are you going to do about it? Pay the tariff on it. That's what you're going to do. That's what we're doing. We're paying the tariff on it like everybody else. You know, the price of them went up, what, $700 or $500 or something? But what are you going to do? You're going to go buy a reman warp piece of shit that's been on a truck 5 times? Yeah, James, we know we need a better internet connection. It's a thing. We have Starlink on the way. I was hoping to God it was going to be here for this show. It certainly will be the other show or the next show. So bear with us this show. We'll have a better internet on the next show. Let's get back to the callers. People have been waiting quite a bit here. We have 4 callers on hold. The call-in number, guys, is 573-422-4225. Hey, what are you doing, Big Dan? One of my old partners in my first trucking businesses in the feed on TikTok. How cool. How cool. Good guy there. Really good guy. All right, Kelly, the 5DS. You're on the air, brother. What can we do for you?
Yeah, I've got this truck. It's had a miss ever since I've had it, like a flutter, almost like when you're going down the road. And I've replaced just about everything but the ECM, and we can't figure it out. We don't know what it is. So I wanted to see if you ever run into anything like that.
So the first question I would ask you, is it actually a 5DS or is it a 6TS that you put a 5DS tune in?
No, it's a 5DS. It's 600. It's I put a set of 955 injectors in it with 80 millimeter turbo. We just overhauled it not too long ago, but I mean, it was missing before then. So
Yeah, I had an EModel Cat that had a miss, especially in the morning. And didn't matter what I did to it, I couldn't get rid of that miss. And then I finally had to rebuild it. And I thought, man, when we rebuild this thing, that miss is going to finally go away. It did go away after we rebuilt it.
no, this one seems like it. I mean, it does it all the time, but it seems like it's worse. Like I just pretty much run like 300 miles a day. So, I mean, it's nothing crazy, but it seems like at the end of the
No shit, we lost him. Oh, we lost him. That sucks. So let me see if I can pick that up and make something out of that call. When you got a miss like that, sound like he was going to say it gets worse as the day goes by. That would lean really hard towards, as my fuel gets hotter, my problem gets worse. Okay, and usually if you have an injector problem, as the fuel gets hotter, the problem gets better because you're burning more efficiently, and it will mask some of the problem of a bad injector. If you're having some kind of air issue, like you're sucking air through fittings, hoses, filter housings, or have some kind of check valve issue going on, return line check valve, especially on hot fuel, it will get worse the hotter the fuel gets. Also, if you have a weak fuel pump, the hotter the fuel gets, the less well that fuel pump will work. So if that's where he was going with that, that would kind of give you some indications there that this is not related to the injectors. Of course, I'm speculating here, but speculating with a little bit of history behind me here. I would be looking really hard at my fuel lines. You know, I would take the fuel off and put it directly to the pump, start there. Certainly get new check valves. They're inexpensive. In fact, I believe that one only has one. I believe it only has a return line valve, check valve. Definitely change that. That's where I'd probably go with that. It's unfortunate that we lost him, but oh well, stuff happens. Oh, looks like he's actually back on here. Hang on, let's see if I can grab him. Are you back on here?
Yeah, I'm back. Sorry about that. I don't know what happened.
Oh, I got you.
Can you hear me?
Yep.
Okay. But yeah, would you think anything about the ECM?
That would be the last thing I would think.
Okay.
I would bet it's not the ECM, especially if the problem can get, it varies. It can get worse, or not be as bad.
Yeah.
That's an indication it's probably not an ECM problem. God, I hate it when TikTok makes me do this. Okay, there we go.
See, I've checked fuel pressure on it, but it's like you couldn't ask for a better sounding truck sitting there idling. And that's when I'm checking the fuel pressure, you know what I mean? So it's got 90 to 100 pound oil pressure when it's sitting there idling. But I didn't know if I need to hook a computer up to it or something when I'm going down the road or what.
I mean, you certainly could. I don't know. I mean, most of the time it doesn't tell you a whole lot.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure you've done injector cutout tests, and it sounds like you've probably changed all the injectors. If you've never changed the fuel line check valve, I would certainly do that. But
Okay.
other than, I mean, here's the other thing: if it never goes away, if it's there all the time, it could very well be a mechanical problem. I mean, how well have you looked at your valve train? Are you damn sure you don't have a valve train problem? And also, it could be out of time, right? It could be slightly out of time, half a tooth advanced or retarded.
Well, that was one thing when we overhauled it. I mean, it ain't been 3 weeks ago. We checked that, that was because somebody told me, said, you might check your cam gear. It might have a crack in it. He said he's seen that cause like a flutter. So I checked that and it turned out good. And then we checked the timing. We did all that, but we're just lost on what else to do.
And I can't remember on that's a 40 pin, I believe. And I can't remember on the 40 pin if you have to oh, we lost him again. I think.
No, I'm here.
Oh, you're still there. Okay.
I'm here.
I can't remember on a 40 pin if you can time the ECM to the crank. But it's something you probably need to look into. I've had 3 trucks in my life that who just wouldn't, they ran rough, they wouldn't run right, and it ended up being that we had to calibrate the ECM to the crank. But those have all been 70 or 120 pin ECMs, and I can't remember if you can do that on the 40 pin or not. Probably, I would guess yes.
Yeah. Okay. All right, buddy. Well, I sure appreciate it.
Yep, you got to find somebody.
I'll give that a try.
You got to find somebody that has that probe, but if you can, that's the thing to try that. And if it won't sync up, you can pretty much guarantee you're out of time somewhere. So it's a good test to do to just see if you're out of time. All right, brother. Good luck.
Yeah. All right, buddy. Thank you.
Yep. Bye. Yeah, I've had 3 trucks, 3 Cat engines in my life that we just could not get running right, and it ended up being needing to sync the ECM to the crank. Yes, you can do it on a 40 pin, and I assumed you could do it on a 40 pin. I just don't want to tell somebody, the last thing I want to do is come on here and act like I fucking know everything. That's the quickest way to look like a fool. I'd rather say I don't know. They can be out of time and never throw a code with the 40 pin. Well, come to think of it, your 40 pin only reads off the cam. It doesn't read off the crank. So how do you pin probe a 40 pin? I don't know. If Charlie was up in the chat, he'd probably know. What is the best heavy haul, high horsepower option off the shelf, in your opinion, today? Um, I think that the number one thing, if I had to just pick one thing, I could only do one thing to my truck for fuel mileage, horsepower, performance, all the whole nine, would probably be the exhaust manifold. I think most people probably would agree with that. I think that's going to be your most gains in all fields across the board of anything that you can do to any engine is start with the manifold. That's my opinion. So glad that you showed ProLube was a gimmick. I'm not sure I showed ProLube was a gimmick. I was being hard on ProLube, but not necessarily intentionally. I just don't like the tests that ProLube does. They feel gimmicky. I can tell you that all the tests I did on oil had vastly different results than ProLube. And I mainly mean testing other products like Lucas. Lucas did astronomically well compared to the tests that I saw them do. I mean, the tests I saw them do, Lucas didn't do shit, but that's not what we saw. And anytime we were using a synthetic oil, I mean, you guys saw I used Royal Purple, and it went just as far as pure ProLube did, or at least just about. So, and ProLube mixed to the ratio that says on the bottle didn't do anything at all. Didn't want to single out ProLube, but ProLube's the guy on the internet making all the videos, so you kind of don't have a choice. You're gonna single them out, right? So anyway, we got two more callers on hold here, guys. We do have a whole hour left. So if you want to be a part of the show, you want to call in, it's 573-422-4225. That's 573-422-4225. All right, we're going to go ahead and take Jordan. Has an NXS with high EGT temps. What can we do for you, buddy?
Hey, so I guess I'm new to the cat, as far as in a truck, and I just got the truck, been running. I think it's set at 475 horse, and seems like it'll run about 1,000 all day long. But if you get into just a slight hill or anything, it starts pulling to, it gets 1,200, and then the light starts coming on. I can only get about 40 pounds of boost. I don't know if that's correct or what. That motor, it's an NXS.
Yeah, for a 475, 40 pounds of boost is not too bad, actually. But you certainly shouldn't be seeing exhaust temperatures that high. I'm assuming it's still a twin turbo. It still has a pre-cooler.
Yeah, it's all stock.
Okay, well, something's definitely wrong. I would be looking over my air-to-air system. I would be going to get it tested. You need to test out your air-to-air system. First of all, make sure you have clean air cleaners. I would change the air cleaners first. And I would also test the air-to-air. But probably before I did any of that, at all, I would look to see if I still had the factory exhaust system on it. Does it still have the factory stacks?
Yeah, it does.
Okay, well, that's actually where the problem is. The Acer came with a catalytic converter type of muffler system, and after about 8 or 10 years, they become clogged up, and the turbo has to work so hard just to build boost. That's what's going on. I am not going to tell you to tear those out and put a spark arrestor in their place, because they're technically an EPA item and they got to stay in there. But that's your problem.
Okay, restricted in the exhaust side, because I checked the air-to-air and everything, and I didn't have any leaks there, and I did put new air filters in. Didn't seem to help me anyway.
Yeah,
So
that's because it's
that would make sense.
I guarantee it's in the exhaust system. Again, I'm not telling you to get rid of those, but that's the problem. You get what I'm saying?
Okay. Yeah, I hear you. Well, that makes sense. Another question for you. To turn it to 550, is it a big deal for that, or
Just a tune, brother, just a tune.
just a tune? Nothing. All the rest of hard components are all the same then.
Yep, that thing can handle 550 no problem. In fact, it'll probably like you better and give you better fuel mileage.
Okay. Good. No, that sounds great. Thank you.
Have a good night, brother, and good luck.
Yeah, you too. Bye.
Oh man, it's so hot in here. I think I already said that. Uh, what was the oil scan test kit you use? I can't remember. Under My Hood is the one I use mainly for convenience because I can get them off of Amazon and they're all encompassing. You just take the sample, put it back in the package, throw it in any postal service box, and you end up getting an email on with the analysis. So he's talking about an oil analysis, I'm assuming. What's the number to call in? The number to call in is 573-422-4225. That's the call in number. We do have a couple people just called in, so we'll take some more callers here. Can a bad injector on a 1mm 600 cat make it sound like a piston ping? Yeah, it's called injector knock, brother. Does your coating on bearings affect manufacturer warranty? Well, no. The easy answer is no. Does that mean that the manufacturer won't say that it voids their warranty? They can if they would like to. But the Supreme Court had a ruling about that kind of stuff where aftermarket sued OEM for OEM voiding warranty for using aftermarket stuff, and aftermarket won. The Supreme Court ultimately ruled that things that are, applied to the engine within parameter, within spec, cannot be used as an excuse to void warranty. So manufacturers, there was a little falafel there where McBee was saying if we coated their kits, while we're waiting for ours to come out, that they might not warranty them. And I just blew that off because they legally can't void their warranty because I coated them. So they can say whatever they want, but when the rubber hits the road, no, they cannot. They cannot void the warranty. They would have to prove. The coating caused the failure, and they're not going to be able to do that because the coating can't cause a failure. Even if it all came off all at once, it wouldn't cause a failure. So they can't void it. They won't pay for it. That's the thing. It's saying I'm not going to pay for it. Performance 60 series, yes, we do. We sell a 600 horsepower, what we like to call the Canadian build 60 series Detroit. We've sold a shit ton of them. Holy cow, a lot of people called. We probably better start taking some callers. Now there's 8 people on hold. This guy's been on hold for 13 minutes. We'll get to him. David Wright, you're on the air, brother. What can we do for you?
Hey, Aaron. I was talking to you earlier. You got my truck in the shop doing an in-frame and a couple of mods, and you're just about ready to put it back together. I was just wondering going forward, I'd seen a couple of your videos on oil, and going forward on conventional and synthetic oil, and just what your thoughts would be on a protocol once we get the truck back and on the road.
Yeah, so here's the thing. Yeah, I did some tests with, one of those oil testing machines. They're a lot of fun. But here's something else you guys have to remember. And I made a lot of videos about this back when we were in North Dakota. When we were running the Alaska Haul Road for 7 years or however long we were doing it, and had 11 trucks, I was taking oil samples on my trucks. And the reason it's so reliable to do oil samples in Alaska is because every trip is exactly the same. It's 512 miles there, 512 miles back. It's the same road every single trip, 11 trucks. And I would run different oils in them and take them out, 10,000. I would change all my oils and I would take oil samples on them and I'd send all those oil samples off, and I would send new oil samples off as well at the same time. And so I was testing every oil in real time, from Dello to Rotella and Cinepec and full synthetic and semi-synthetic and all those things. And over a 3-year span, I was able to build an awesome overview of what oils broke down really bad, which oils lost viscosity, had really bad suspension, which oils would start consuming oil really bad, which oils would start to show quite a bit of loss in oil pressure due to viscosity loss and things of that nature. And so I've known personally for a long time what some of the better oils are out there. Obviously, I didn't test every oil on planet Earth, but some of the things I can, you probably heard me giving Dello a hard time. That's because I tested the shit out of Dello, and Dello is trash. I would never run that in any of my engines, and it loses its viscosity really quick. It breaks apart really quick. It's not a good oil. It's just not. Rotella, on the other hand, awesome oil. Mobile Delvac, awesome oil. And then when you step into the realm of full synthetics, that's really the only thing that matters. Is you don't be fooled by semi-synthetics. Semi-synthetics are the biggest scam ever in history. By law, they only have to have 1% synthetic to call it a semi-synthetic. So what do you think they do for their bottom line? You don't get a good semi-synthetic. The only semi-synthetic on the market that's worth the money is AMSOIL's semi-synthetic. Theirs is 50%. They have the only semi-synthetic on the market that is worth spending the money on. So when you step into the world of full synthetics, you really need to look at, am I buying a petroleum-based that they're calling a full synthetic, which you had Mobil 1 sued Chevron, Dello, your great and illustrious Dello, because Dello came out with a full synthetic, but it's just a petroleum product. And Mobil 1 sued them for calling it a full synthetic, and Mobil 1 lost. And so every company ever since then can make conventional oils and label them as full synthetic if they alter the molecular structure enough to qualify. True full synthetics are made from natural gas. They can make it from coal, but most of it's made from natural gas. Those are true full synthetics. Your Dello full synthetic, it's trash. It's just conventional oil that they're able to market as full synthetic. If you want a real full synthetic like Royal Purple, Mobil 1, AMSOIL, something like that, they're going to vastly outperform any conventional oil. I don't give a fuck whose conventional oil it is. They are going to vastly outperform it. Stuff like your Schaefer's, everybody loves Schaefer's. Schaefer's is not a true synthetic. I could be wrong about that, but I'm almost positive that's not a true synthetic. That is a petroleum product that is being passed off as a synthetic, just like Dello 400. Your true synthetics are made from natural gas. There's no comparison. I have ran the shit out of full synthetic, and I can tell you that full synthetic at 20,000 hard miles is a vastly superior oil to a conventional that has ran 10,000 miles. Vastly superior.
Yeah, it's funny. I have always run that cat with Rotella T4, and I put a gallon of Lucas in, and I do a 10,000 mile interview. I tried Dello one time, and I had to drop it at 5,000 miles. It was done. The truck hated it. I never ever tried it again. But I just, after we get the truck back on the road, I was just looking at maybe doing a synthetic regime, and I'll talk to you more about it in person, like when I come to pick the truck up. But your video interested me on the 10,000 mile filter change with a 20,000 mile oil change, and I just wanted to get your idea on that again as we go forward.
So we're going to tell you not to run synthetic in it for the first 10,000 miles. We're going to ask you to run conventional.
Right.
But from there, you are better off, and I can say this unequivocally, you are better off running a full synthetic for 20,000 miles with a 10,000 mile filter change. Just change the filter at 10,000. Than you are running conventional oil of any brand and any stripe to 10,000. So if you step from
Okay.
mobile, or I mean from Rotella T4 and went up to T6,
Before, yep.
go up to T6 and run that to 20,000 miles. Do the math. You're actually saving
Yep.
1/3 of your money in running a vastly superior oil. I ran
Right.
T6 in my trucks for years before I switched to Cinepex full synthetic, and I was saving.
Okay.
I was saving money by doing
T6
that.
a full synthetic then?
Yes, it is, but
Is T6 a full synthetic? Yeah.
it is. But by the definition of the Supreme Court, your T6 is a full synthetic by the definition of the Supreme Court. It's not a full synthetic by the definition of it is a synthetic petroleum made from natural gas, but it is vastly superior to the to the T4.
Right. Okay. So would you still use like a Lucas in that then, or would you just like, what's your thoughts on that? Like, I know you've got your own thoughts on additives and stuff anyway, but it just seems like the truck kind of always liked having that bit of Lucas in there.
Well, that's because Lucas has synthetic polymers in it, and it allows the oil, even at a 1:9, 1:10 ratio that you mix it at. There's so much, so much synthetic polymer in there that it makes all the oil stretch, and so it gets better lubrication to everything. But your engine certainly doesn't need it. It is it's a good product for what it's designed to do. The problem I have with Lucas is that everybody uses it for what it's not designed to do, and that's to mask the fact that they have broken rings and shit like that, and they got massive blow by, and they're consuming oil like crazy. That's really my only problem with it. It is an awesome product. I used to put a gallon in my transmissions and a gallon in my diffs. And I wasn't after their oil. Their oil is nothing impressive. Their base stock is not impressive at all. All I was after is the synthetic polymers that are in the oil. You know, that's the problem with like Mystic 1550. Mystic 1550 tries to, you know, they have an oil thickener as well that they try and push like it's the same as Lucas, but it's not. It doesn't have synthetic polymers in it. It does have polymers in it, but as soon as it gets into your gears, it breaks down and becomes worthless. Your Mystic oil additive is absolute trash.
All righty. Well, thanks, buddy. I'll talk to you about that a little bit when I pick my truck up here in a couple weeks or so, and we'll work out a plan going forward.
All right, brother. You have a good night.
Hey, you too. Thanks.
Bye. Oh, why do you guys do this to me? We're getting into the top of the half hour here, and there's so many people on hold. We got 7 people on hold. Not too bad. I'm gonna try to get to everybody. Thoughts on Mystic 1550? I have Mystic 1550 coming to test it, but I have used Mystic 1550. I used it in half of my fleet when I was in Georgia for about 6 months. In my experience with it, I wasn't in nearly as controlled of an environment like I was in Alaska, where I was able to really test oils, but my truck started to consume a lot of oil using Mystic. I was having to add a couple gallons a week, where I wasn't having to do that with Rotella. And so I bought a lot at once. I got a really good deal on it because I bought a shit ton at once, but as soon as it was gone, I never used it again. And I'm pretty sure when I test Mystic next week on our machine here, it's not going to do good at all, because that is not good oil. What it is inexpensive oil that they tell you is a synthetic blend. So people get wooed into buying it because they're like, oh, I'm getting this better oil for an awesome price point. And again, guys, 1% can have 1% synthetic in it, and they can market it to you as a semi-synthetic. It's kind of bullshit. All right, guys, we got lots of callers. I see there's lots of comments in the comment section, but this is a call-in show, and guys sit there on hold, so Should I dump my Schaefer's semi-synthetic? Man, I don't know. I'm not saying that. But I would. I mean, and I mean, you guys can see the test I did on Schaefer's. I personally, this is a personal opinion. I haven't done enough testing on Schaefer's to say too much, but my personal opinion is Schaefer's is you pay a premium for Schaefer's when there's other products out there that are better. Okay. Not sure the name. Maybe Terrence calling about your 2019 X15. You're on the air, brother. What can we do for you?
Hey, just what's going on? Hey, man, we got a 2019 X15 and it just started like losing oil, and the driver, he ran about 300 miles and it used about 3 gallons, but it's not leaking, and we let it sit there and idle. It's not smoking. It'll sit there and run about an hour and a half and lost about a half a gallon. But as soon as you accelerate, mash the throttle sitting there, it blows smoke, for a couple of minutes there. And you think it's rings or liner?
Yeah, it's probably a liner. Probably a liner smoked. Doesn't sound like broken rings. Broken rings are really, I mean, obviously there's exceptions to anything I might say on here. But most of the time when you have a broken ring, she'll chug crankcase pressure, blow by. She'll just sit there and chug it at you at a dead idle, especially warmed up. If you're losing a lot of oil and she's not chugging at you when you're just at a dead idle, usually that means you have a scored liner, and it's really only pushing all that combustion gas down into the crankcase when you're under load. In other words, when there's boost pressure on top of the piston crown and it's pushing that all past. So you probably have some scored out liners. That'd be my guess.
Yeah. Well, we just want to check. Ain't really coming, guys, but we just want to see if it was something special about them.
Well, here's something you can do before you tear it apart: is send an oil sample out and see what it says. It's going to tell you if there's a lot of soot and stuff like that down into that oil.
Yeah,
that might help you out, save you from having to tear it apart.
All right, man. I appreciate it. That's what we was looking to find out.
All right. Have a good night, brother, and good luck.
All right, man. Appreciate all this free info.
Yep. Bye. What is the pencil strength of the new coatings? 9. I am proud to say the pencil strength of our coatings is 9. We did find a place in Michigan to outsource all the coatings to. I've been talking to the guy for the last couple days. Really cool company. They're all certified coaters. In fact, they teach classes on how to coat. That's what level they're at. They're going to take over all the coatings. Really excited about that. But the pencil strength of the products that we're using is 9. If you guys are wondering, that is as high as it can get. Teflon, for example, comes in at a 7. The product I'm using that I call Teflon comes in at a 9. You guys have to understand when I'm making those videos talking about, our Teflon coating and stuff like that, it's not actually Teflon. Teflon is a brand. It's like when you're talking about body armor and you talk about Kevlar. Oh, check out my Kevlar vest. Kevlar is a brand. Kevlar is not the material. The material is aramid. But Kevlar was the name in aramid vests for a long time. So everybody just refers to body armor as Kevlar, and it's not. Kevlar is a brand. Aramid is actually what body armor is made out of. Not all, but most body armor. Same thing with the coatings that we're using. It is not Teflon. Teflon trademark is a brand. What we're using is not made by Teflon. The product we're using has outperformed every single in every single corrosion resistance, oil shedding, pencil test, all of those things over Teflon. So it actually vastly outperforms Teflon. Teflon's heat point, can't remember how you say that word. Yeah, I believe it's 700 degrees. The product we're using goes to 1800 degrees. It is vastly superior. So Kevlar is a DuPont brand. Yeah, I think that's correct. Kevlar is a DuPont brand, but Kevlar is a brand name made by DuPont. Anyway, Lucas and Blow By and Diagnostics. Roger McKinley, you're on the air, brother. What can we do for you?
Aaron, how's it going?
Good, man.
You there? Good.
Yeah, I'm here. What can we do for you?
So I've got a. Sorry, there's still a little delay. I've got a 6TS. I've got IPDs, one-piece pistons in it, a stage 3 head from Highway and Heavy Parts, 78 132 turbo, and I just re-ringed it because I had scored liners, put the new head on this time, and it's got a massive amount of blow-by when it's warmed up, like you were just talking about a broken ring would be, so I'm kind of leaning that way, possibly.
I could probably.
But what I'm wondering is,
hang on. So, it had really bad blow by, and you re-ringed it, and it still has really bad blow by.
I re-ringed it, and it was good. Well, it was fairly good after break-in. But what I'm wondering is how to diagnose. Can I diagnose the air compressor without taking it off?
It's not the air compressor. So, what?
Okay.
What did the cylinders look like when you opened it up to re-ring it?
They were vertically scored, and actually, yeah. So I've re-ringed it twice now.
Okay, so
the first time it was just scored liner.
Brother, I know what's going on with it.
Awesome.
Your cooling jets are bent. You bent them the first time. That's what's going on. You need to re-ring it one more time and put new cooling jets in it, and you'll stop having this problem.
That would make sense. I looked at the angle of them when I had them out and thought that they were probably good, but I've been thinking about that all week. That would make sense.
That's what's going on. I bet you $1 million.
Yeah. I'm running about 600 horsepower. As far as like McBee or IPD or whatever's head gaskets, have you had any trouble with them? Because I've heard of guys blowing aftermarket head gaskets, and they run a Cat head gasket on high horsepower builds.
Yeah, that's one of the most common questions I get is guys when they're they're bringing an engine to me and they know I'm going to use aftermarket and this and that. I'm like, well, do you think we should use a Cat head gasket or Cummins OEM head gasket? And to me, that's silly. And here's why. In all the years I've been doing this, and you guys can go back and I've been saying this forever. In all the years I've been doing this, I have never, ever, ever, ever had a head gasket fail on an engine or opened an engine and saw a head gasket failure for the sake of the head gasket ever in my life. Never.
Right.
If you have a head
gasket, it's always the head or sunk liners.
It's external, right? It's some kind of external event.
Right.
You overheated it. You had to drop a liner. You this, that is. I feel the same way about cryogenic head studs, about fire ringed heads, about raised liners from IPD. Guys, I'm into all that kind of stuff. You can see that. If I thought there was any advantage to it, our heads would have fire rings on them. Our liners would be raised, so on and so forth. I've never, ever, ever seen a fucking head gasket fail for the head gasket's sake ever in my life.
Right. If the head gasket's blowing, it's something that's causing it to blow.
Yes. Yeah, you're not going to have any advantage by buying an OEM head gasket. It's not going to happen.
Sure. Okay. I've got one other question about turbos, if you got time for it.
Go ahead.
I know you got a lot of people waiting. So I just bought a 78 145 because I'd heard everybody says, they'll run a little cooler EGTs. And I thought, all right, I'll give it a shot. So I put it on there, and I can't run down the highway at 1500 without my pyro being at 900 plus 1500 RPMs. I mean, it's a Borg Warner 78 145, and I think I can hear a little bit of drag when it's warm, but when it's cold, you can't hear any. Have you had any issues with Borg Warners?
No, exact opposite. That's why ultimately we decided to go with Borg Warner super cores as the platform to build our turbos off of, because they've always made the best turbos. I'm gonna guess you have something else going on there, right? Some kind of intake or some kind of restriction.
Well, that's what I thought, but I put my 78 132 back on because it's still good. I ran last week with my 78 145, and I couldn't even go empty up a hill without being over 900. Put my 78 132 on, and all week I haven't had my pyro over 930. I think was the hottest I've seen this week.
Yep,
that's loaded, pulling as hard as I can pull.
Right. So that's the thing. That's why I don't like 80 millimeter turbos, right? Because 80 millimeter turbos,
right,
you have to have so much fucking horsepower to make an 80 millimeter turbo not cause you problems. You've exceeded what your engine can handle. So you have one of two problems going on. Number one, I don't know what kind of manifold you have, but if you don't have a performance manifold, that you can't really strap on that bigger turbo and see any kind of results. You're going to see the results you're having, which aren't that great, right?
Sure. And that's one thing I have not done yet. I need to.
Yeah, dude. Get a performance manifold.
Yeah.
100%.
I know that's for sure something that's necessary. It just didn't seem like it should be that big of a difference from the 145 and 132, but
it's a huge difference.
That makes sense.
It's a huge difference.
Yeah. Okay. That I will change and put that one back on there. It runs awesome with it. I mean, I feel like it runs way better. It just runs so hot.
Yeah, you gotta be. I mean, you can push all the air into that damn thing you want, but you gotta have a way to move it, right? So get a manifold that'll probably be just magical.
What's your thought on Steed Speed's manifolds?
What's my thought on Steed Speed manifolds? Mom and pop company. They're out of stock a lot, but their product, it's a really fucking good manifold, man. That is a really fucking good manifold. They're gaudy.
My dad has one.
They're ugly as all hell.
Oh man,
they're ugly as shit. But that manifold performs. I don't care what anyone says. Is they're not flashy and all that. We're developing a manifold as well, but ours is a lot more full tilts. Full tilt makes a badass manifold. But you can't knock a Steed Speed. They are badass.
Right. Yeah, my old man has one, and the only issue I have with it is he blows the exhaust gaskets like once a month. He has to change his gasket on his turbo, but
yeah,
other than that, I mean, it runs way cooler.
There could be a lot of factors contributing to that, though.
Right. Yeah, it could be the turbo side too, or whatever. I mean, it could be a multitude of other things, but
all right,
he didn't start having that issue until I changed manifolds. But all right, Aaron, thank you.
Yep. Have a good night and good luck, brother.
You too. Thanks.
Bye.
Bye.
A lot of good calls tonight, for sure. It's been nice. I was pretty tired coming into this show, and to be honest with you, didn't really feel like doing this show today, but I'm committed. Here we are. Motor coat. I haven't tested motor coat. I have used it in my trucks a little bit. I don't know, man. Most of those things are just so gimmicky, But anyway, we got lots of callers. So sorry if I'm not getting to the comments too much. This is a call-in show, and there's a hell of a lot of there's 4 more people on hold here. Let's see if we can burn through them. We still got 25 minutes almost. It would be nice to get back to the comment section and hang out with you guys. So let's burn through these callers. Jerry Garsky, you're on the air, brother. What can we do for you?
Hey, Aaron, how you doing today?
Good, man.
Good. I just have a quick question. I seen your video of you were looking for core molds, and I was just wondering if you're still looking for motors and which ones you would be looking for if you are.
So we're always looking for core engines. I just don't always make videos about it. And in fact, here in about 60 days, I'm taking a gooseneck and traveling around the country to go meet as many people as I can and make that a trip where I'm buying cores. See if people will. I'll cut them and buy cores. I mainly want to do it for fun. I have semis that have ran around the country. We have bought about 160 cores, but I'd like to have 160 more. What we're looking for is pretty much any cat engine that is bigger than a C13. So all your C15 style engines, and stopping at the SDP. We're not looking for SDPs. Pretty much any Cummins engine from the N14 up to the X15. I have unfortunately bought a shit ton of big cams, but that's only because they've been part of group buys that I've purchased. We're after pretty much any Detroit 60 series. We prefer the 14 liters. We don't really like to buy D-Deck 2s or D-Deck 3s are fine. Don't like them as much. D-Deck 4s are great. 5s are awesome. 6s are cat's meow. So we're kind of after all those there. That makes sense?
Makes a lot of sense. So, okay. You said about 60 days you're going to be traveling the country then, huh?
Yeah, I thought I would take a couple weeks off from here and just run around, and I thought it'd be fun. I have a place I can take. I can stage engines in Idaho. I can stage engines in Michigan. I can stage engines in Georgia, and obviously here in Texas. So I have 4 places around the country I can stage engines and send a semi to go get them. So I figured run around, pick up a gooseneck or something fun like that, and collect as many engines as I could around the country, then send semis to go get them.
Okay, well, I'm in southeastern Wisconsin. We have some of what you were talking about. So when you start traveling around the country in your pickup, just keep me in mind.
Yeah, well, I'll make videos about it. You'll see it. So just reach out to us then. All right, brother.
Yeah, I just call the office and give them the number for you to call when you're out there, or what should we do to get you the information?
The only problem with doing that, and I don't want to try and sound like I'm more important than I am, but if you could just, if people knew how many phone calls we get a day where people are just trying to talk to me in general, the best thing to do would be to call when you see us, say, when it's obvious that we're traveling around doing that kind of stuff, because you will get lost in the 700,000 people that call us between now and then. There's 3 girls that work here, and they spend the largest portion of their day just answering the phone, telling people I'm not available to talk.
I know how that goes.
So
I get the 700 phone calls a day too.
I certainly don't think I'm the only guy, but it's a little overwhelming here. It's one of the main motivators of why we started doing this show is just to give the girls that work here something to tell people. Like, okay, well, here's a phone. They text them the phone number and say, call between 7 and 9 Central Time on Wednesdays, and he'll answer any question you have and give you as much time as you need. But right now, he's too busy. So this show has been a huge reliever here, because before we started doing this, they didn't know what to tell people. It's kind of like fuck off, basically. And that's never fun to tell people.
Yeah. Okay. So probably about November 1st, then watch for a video and then reach out to you.
Yeah, it's gonna be something like that. I more wanted to, I wanted to do it for fun, if anything else, and just get out and meet as many people as I can. And of course, we'll have a lot of products out by then, and just kind of a promotion, have fun, go get engines, meet people. It's always fun to go out and meet people. So that was kind of my plan. I think it'd be fun.
Okay. Well, you probably get up in the Wisconsin area. I'm in the southeastern Wisconsin area, so I'm close to Michigan.
Yeah, I think I mean, we have enough places we're gonna kind of be able to hit every state, I think. Looks like it anyway.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Well, that was just my question. I want to make it quick. I know there's other people on the line. So, I got the information that I needed from you, and I will just kind of watch and be in touch with you.
All right, sounds good, man. You have a good day.
You too. Thanks.
Yep, bye.
Bye.
All right, a bunch of people hung up, so we only have 2 people on hold. So we'll go ahead and burn through them here real quick. Let me check. Hey, Hack, do you have any rebuilt big cams? We have big cam cores here for building. We don't have anything sitting on the shelf hoping somebody calls and wants to buy it. Not right at this time. We will. We're transitioning over to doing that here in the next 60 days. That is where we're trying to take our entire business model. Christian Perez, I believe you're on the air, brother. What can we do for you?
Hey, how you doing, man? Hey, I just had a quick question. So I got a C15 twin turbo converted to a single turbo. The truck has just been overhauled. And then for some reason, when you turn on the truck, the oil pressure reaches 100 PSI. And you connect the hose going to the crankcase filter, it's like it starts breaking the front main seal. You get a lot of pressure coming out of the oil fill. My question is, what causes an issue for the oil pressure being 100 PSI? Is it like a broken ring?
Broken ring isn't going to cause you to have super high oil pressure.
Because when the truck turns up, right, it starts to feel like blow by, like a little, and it does. You put your hand on the breather on the valve cover, and then you do get pressure coming out of there, like blow by, like when the engine warms up. But I'm stuck where I don't know. 100 PSI, that's way too much, I don't know where to look at. I called the Cat dealership. They can't really give me a good answer with where to start. I opened up the injectors. We put compression on it, see if one of the piston rings is broken, nothing. But my question is, I don't know, does 100 PSI, does that mean there's a broken ring?
No, a broken ring isn't going to give you high oil pressure.
Maybe a broken, I don't know. What I'm finding out is whoever installed this engine was a C13, sorry. And they put a C15, but the engine serial number was a different serial number. So what I did is I put the original serial number, the sticker that was on the oil cooler, I put it on the computer. But, same thing, I don't know where to go. I don't know where to look, where like the high oil pressure going on, It has new main bearings, new pistons, new liners, new remain head.
Yeah, but have you
same injector?
Have you put a new oil pump on it?
Oil pump? No, it's a used one. You recommend putting a new oil pump?
Well, of course, I recommend putting a new oil pump. That is your oil pump is. I mean, we're dealing with the PSI problem, right? And the PSI comes from the oil,
Right?
Oil pump. So.
Right.
If we haven't done an oil pump, that's obviously the first thing to do. There's a pressure relief valve on that oil pump.
Okay.
100.
You think it's probably getting stuck?
I mean, if you don't change the oil, but you got to go down. You got to go down the list of things first.
Right.
And if you haven't done the oil pump, that is the most obvious thing of all. It's not a broken ring. I can promise you that. That is not a thing, right? So this, if you haven't done the oil pump, that 100%. You can get one from an aftermarket one from like Highway and Heavy Parts or something like that, they're not expensive. They're really not. I wouldn't be messing around with anything else until I put a new oil pump on it.
Okay. Yeah, because the truck's it sounds smooth, but it sounds smooth, but but when it had that twin turbo, it had a crankcase filter. What about that crankcase filter? Are you supposed to remove it? You're not supposed to have no filter. Just have just a breather hose.
No, you have to have a crankcase filter, otherwise you'll push a lot of oil out.
Yeah. See, that's a problem. When I connect the crankcase filter, it just starts breaking the front main seal. Then you get a lot of oil, like a lot of pressure, like a lot of oil coming out of the oil field. A lot.
Which in
It's
what
100 psi.
what engine is it?
What engine?
Mm-hmm.
It's a 2000. It's a 2005. It's a 2005. The engine serial number is a BXS. B as in boy.
Okay. Have you I mean, is your element clogged on that thing? It has to be. The element has to be clogged, especially if you're blowing the front main seal out.
Yeah. Element. Can you explain what an element is?
So your crankcase filter is just a metal element.
Yeah.
That keeps the oil.
Yeah.
It basically catches the oil in the blow by and makes it fall back down into the engine. But if it's clogged, you'll blow seals out for sure. That valve cover is only about $200 from Cat for a brand new one. I would just get a brand new one and chuck that one and see if that helps.
Okay. So first, just start with the oil pump, and then from there, just
sounds like you need to
put a new crankcase filter.
Like you need to start with a new crankcase filter. Which I mean,
Right.
what do you have? Like a chimney on top, or does it have a tube that comes out the side?
A tube that goes on the side.
Yeah, that valve cover's around $200, man. I would get that valve cover first. Do that first for sure. If you're blowing seals.
Okay. A valve cover, and then an oil pump. All right.
And
all right, that's my question, man. Thank you for your time.
All right. Have a good night, man.
Yeah. All right.
I have to keep going back to the show I did with James Daniels when he was on here. He was probably the best guest I've had, or when the caller would call, reeling them back and saying, have you done this, 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 and this? And almost always it's no, 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 and no. And so why are we at step 10 when we should have started at step 1? Well, we know we have a crankcase problem. Let's start there. Cure that. Then let's move on to our oil pressure problem for sure. So, a lot of people are saying, does he have the right bearings? The thing is, guys, is if he had oversized bearings, let's say he had a 10 over bearing in a standard spot, that fucking thing wouldn't make it anywhere. If it was torqued down correctly, nah. And you can have undersized bearings. If he was complaining about how he just rebuilt it and he was having this low oil pressure issue, it's like, it's when it's cold, it's at 40 pounds. And when it warms up, it drops all the way down to 20. Then we can start suggesting, well, maybe you have a turned crank. It's 10 over, it's 20 over, something like that. But not the other way around. If he had 10 over bearings in a standard, that would be causing so much friction. It would fucking smoke immediately. Once it heats up, what's the operating temperature? I mean, he told us in the beginning. I think it was pretty normal. At idle, but rev still goes back up to 100. I think is what he said. But anyway, guys, we got one more caller. Let's go ahead and take this caller, and then I'm not going to take any more callers. We only got 8 minutes left. Somebody just called in. Jesus Christ. We're just going to take this last caller. It's been on hold, guys. Sorry, I'm going to drop you here because we have 8 minutes left. We'll take this caller, then I'll spend some time in the comment section, and we'll call it a night. It's not fair to not give the comment section any time at all. Paul calling about an ACERT. You're on the air, brother. What can we do for you?
Hey, how's it going? Good afternoon. I was calling because I did an frame on a C15 ACERT. I put OEM cat pistons, low compression pistons in it. I put a new crank in it. I pretty much the whole engine, including the radiator, it's all brand new from the radiator to the transmission. And the motor blew up within a week. Piston number 6 got really scored and the head cracked in 3 places. I was just wondering, like, what could have caused that? Because the mechanic said, oh, it was your water pump because we didn't change it out. I bought a brand new water pump at Cat, still same result. I bought a new oil cooler, same result. And I'm still getting the check engine light on it after, a lot of money down the drain and a brand new head and, Cat warranty parts. I was just wondering, what's the best way to make sure that motor is running right? Nope.
So I'm just going to take a stab in the dark here. We got to go with correlation. You have a engine that you have dynamically changed its operating parameters, which required you to dynamically change the mapping in the ECM. And you're having instant problems that are getting blamed on a water pump for some reason. Because you didn't change it. Does that mean it was stopped working? I seriously doubt it. It's just an excuse, sounds like to me. But
temperature on that truck never went above 200.
Okay, so it screams tuning issue. It screams absolute shit ass tune that's tearing the truck apart.
Yeah, because I really don't know what it is. I sunk a lot of money into it. And like I said, like this mechanic, he's, decent, but it's sometimes, the people they hire, they, leave stuff loose.
But hang on now.
It hasn't been.
Hang on. You haven't described anything that screams installation error. You haven't described anything that says this mechanic was negligent, had his head up his ass, anything like that. The failures that you're describing are failures that either come.
He put on a transmission for me, and it fell off in California. How is that not somebody that doesn't? I've changed everything. Like I've changed out the water pump, the air compressor.
That is new.
And I've seen the quality of his work.
Right, but that's new information you're giving me. Right, I'm going with the information you gave me a minute ago, and the things that you described so far. The failures that you have described that have happened to the engine are not installation errors and they're not parts failures. What they are is some external event, either overheated, and you already said, you guys check the ECM, you don't have overheats. So it's overheating from the air side. So air and fuel is why it's overheating, which says this tune that they put on there once they converted it to a single turbo setup, whatever tune they had to do to delete the VBAs and all that is some kind of hopped up crack monkey tune that is tearing the shit out of the engine. I mean, you're calling, you want my opinion. I'm assuming that's what's making sense, right? Hey, I'm not saying they're the best mechanics, but I'm not hearing anything you're saying where I'm going to say, yeah, these guys are fucking retards, right?
Well, and I also was going to tell you, well, it's not always, they know what they're doing because obviously, they build a lot of engines, and somebody that builds 2 or 3, they're probably going to build 30 of them. But I just kind of wanted to know, what's the way I could bulletproof that engine after sinking all that money into it. It's like my check engine light still turns on, and he scanned it and he said it was the IVAs or whatever. And he said he could either delete them 100%, but then my engine brake won't work that good, or that's pretty much the only option he gave me. I really don't know.
Okay, so that's
why I figured I'd call some.
That's not a thing. Your BBAs have nothing to do with your Jake brakes. If deleting them all the way affected the Jake brakes. So what it sounds like to me is that they have some pin drive tune that they put on there. They don't actually have any clue what they're doing. And he can't actually fix the he can't fix the BBA check engine light code for you because he doesn't map and write tunes. He puts some shit on there that he's probably put on 50 other people's trucks, and it's way too hot and it's destroying the engine.
Yeah, I was gonna call the guy from Diesel Connection and just send him my ECM, and kind of, it's better than like what you say. These guys with the hot tune-up with the computer program, they probably brought off some Cubans in Houston, and it's like you said, they put that tune in 50 other trucks.
Somebody just said in the
he
comments,
put that tune in 50.
a good mechanic doesn't equal a good tuner. Sometimes it's best to separate the two and just have them share information. I'll be the first to tell you guys, I don't tune shit. I could, and I could make a lot of money if I just had copycat tune files that I would be willing to put on people's trucks. I have never done that in my entire life. I have never hooked a computer up to a truck and uploaded a file onto a truck. I have never done that in my entire life. 100% of our tuning on my own trucks and on trucks that we've worked for other people have all been outsourced to Canadians and the like that write tunes for the truck, applicable to the truck, and so forth. It's never been, we've never put the same tune in two trucks ever in our life.
So you're thinking it might just be like a tuning issue because, and my oil, it gets really hot too. So that's why I was like, something ain't running right in this motor.
Yeah,
My oil jumps up
because you're probably already broke all the rings, so you're putting crankcase pressure down or combustion gas into the crankcase, which is superheating the oil. Your head's cracked out, so on and so forth, because it's the tune, man. It's the tune. I mean, everything you're describing is screaming your tune is shit. These guys probably did a really good job rebuilding the engine. You just need to get as far away from him as you can with your ECM. Grab it and run. And go somewhere where it's not some flash drive that they're putting on there that's already been on 50,000 other people's trucks.
Yeah, I think well, in order to get a good tune, I might have to go down to Texas because over here in Colorado, they're kind of, there isn't no real good tuners out here in Colorado. I had a guy and he disappeared, and after that, I don't know no one that busts out two laptops and starts messing with the parameters and actually knows what they're doing.
Yeah, and I'm not that guy either, right? Let me make it clear to everyone, I'm not that guy either. I let people that went the people that we use went to school for it. They have a official storefront. There's like 26 people that work there. We could go to their business location if we wanted to. If I wanted to drive to Canada, it's not like an underground hidden place. They do a lot of work. They do a lot of work for dealerships. They do a lot of failure analysis for big companies. They used to do highway and heavy parts failure analysis as well. You kind of get what I'm saying? Yeah. I mean, there's tuner guys around us, but I wouldn't even consider any of them.
Yeah, because like I said, this truck, it has everything. It has a new crank from highway heavy. Like when the head blew, I put a new head on and everything. And it's just like, I'm trying to pull up the hills here in Colorado and, anything, even before I start climbing, as soon as I put a little bit of pressure on the motor, check engine light turns on. So it's kind of
get the tune fixed, brother, and get the tune fixed, and then then figure out what problems you have. Start at the beginning.
I also had another question. What do you think is the best high performance manifold between a Speed Air, PDI, or Full Tilt PDI? Or I think they're all made by the same company now.
I wouldn't say they're all made by the same company. And I say that because
PAI don't make Full Tilt and Bully Dog and Pittsburgh Power.
So Full Tilt makes manifolds for a few people. Bully Dog, for example. But we're working with manifold manufacturers as well, so I kind of get to know a lot of these things, right? But I don't know who makes PDI, but I'm pretty sure it's not Full Tilt. In fact, I'm like 99% sure it's not Full Tilt. The thing I hate about PDI's manifolds is they design them to try to, kind of force you to use their turbos. They do have little inserts you can use to use regular turbos, but it's kind of a janky system. I would never recommend a PDI manifold to anybody because you're kind of stuck. I mean, if you want it to work properly, you really have to use their turbos. So you're kind of forced into a corner on that.
Their turbos are Borg Warner.
Right.
Yeah. Well,
you're talking
PDI
you talking about PDI's turbos?
Yeah, PDI out of Utah. All their manifolds are honed, and I have 3 PDIs for Detroit's, and the PDI, it's a lot more thicker than the original one, and both they sell you for $300 because your factory ones they're just too short.
That's horseshit. Full Tilt makes a manifold that's more robust than theirs, just as fucking robust, and they don't make you use special shit. So that's bullshit. But I understand what you're saying. I'm not saying you're full of shit. I mean, that's probably what they told you, but that's bullshit. You can just look at a Full Tilt manifold and see that's bullshit. But anyway, neither here nor there. To answer your question, I think for the price, for what you actually get right now, Full Tilt is probably the best choice on the market. It is a
they're better than a
it is a honed manifold, and it's way bigger than stock, and it's ceramic coated inside and out, and they hold up year after year after year. They're just a beautiful manifold, absolutely beautiful, and they're flattered and fucking shit, like they're supposed to be.
Yeah, because those look exactly the same, like the PAI, like Pi.
Yep.
You know, the aftermarket brand.
Yep.
Those look exactly like it because I got one on my Detroit, and like it makes a big difference. Like I'll tell you, it makes a big difference. You know, I
can tell you that
3 pounds of
PAI makes their manifolds are being done in house.
Their manifolds are because I think they have a warehouse in Dallas, right?
Yeah, believe so. But they are PAI is not having Full Tilt make their manifolds. I have been to PAI's factory.
Yeah.
I'm just
okay, yeah, because I seen when I bought them, it said like made in USA. And it looks just like the Full Tilt one, has even all the same, like, same characteristics and stuff like that. I just wanted to make sure because those
there's no reason to reinvent the wheel. PDI, PAI, Full Tilt, they're all kind of making the same carbon copy, but it's a tried and true manifold. So why reinvent the wheel, right? I think that PAI has the best price point, but their availability.
Not no more.
Oh, really?
PAI. The price went up when I first bought my manifold like 5 years ago. I paid $900. I called them a couple of weeks ago because I need one for the C15. They wanted like almost $1,400, and I was like, and this is through the guy that I get my parts through in Cal.
Full Tilt manifold's quite a bit more than that.
And
the PAI one comes with the bolt kit, and the Full Tilt one doesn't. So the PAI is still gonna be a way better deal, man.
Yeah, well, those Full Tilt ones are, that's, paying retail, stuff like that. I got a parts. If you buy any parts in California, they don't charge you sales tax on it. So if you get an overhaul kit, whatever it may be, no sales tax. And same thing with the manifolds.
All right, man. Well, good luck with that engine. Okay.
All right. Well, appreciate your time.
Yep. Have a good night, man.
You too, bye.
Yeah, Charlie. I know PAI and PDI are different companies. At first, I was confused about who he was talking about, but my comments about PDI still stand. I didn't realize he was talking about PAI. Um, PAI manifolds are pretty interesting. Um, they are a better price point, and they do come with hardware that you have to pay extra for if you buy like a full tilt. Or I can't remember if PDI's comes with theirs or not. I've used quite a few PDI manifolds. Um, I'm not saying they make a bad manifold. PDI makes a great manifold. I just hate the fact that they have it configured in such a way that you're like pushed into using their turbo. Um, oh yeah, I think I was confusing him, Charlie. I don't think he was ever saying PDI. I think I was saying PDI. But maybe he is confused because I'm pretty sure PAI's performance manifold is a really new item. So I don't see how he could have been buying them 2 or 3 years ago. So maybe he's confused and is confusing me, and we were confusing each other. I don't fucking know. I know I'm confused. Um. Can you elaborate on the FMCA going back to diesel engines back to 2008 regulations? Is this true? Well, I don't know if it's true. The only thing I can tell you guys about that is there is a bill that has been introduced by a senator to roll emissions back to 2010. It is being backed by a lot of people. That specifically has to do with our industry. But you guys have to remember that doesn't mean anything at all. Bills get introduced all the time, and it has so many steps and processes it has to go to become legitimate, become law, so to speak. The odds of it making it are incredibly small. I wouldn't pop the champagne bottles anytime soon. It has to go through obviously both the House and the Senate and Congress, whatever. And it's got to get passed and it's got to get approved by the president, which we probably all know that part would happen. But um, most bills never even make it to the floor. They get shot down. And a bill like this is going to have an incredible amount of opposition, not only from the environmentalists, it's also going to have an incredible amount of opposition from the people that you would least suspect, which would be your current engine manufacturers. And they got big money. You got Cummins, you got Detroit, you got Cat, even. Those guys are probably going to push back really hard against a bill like this getting enacted because it does a lot of damage to them. They have so much invested in emissions at this point that I'm quite certain they will fight their asses off to keep it at the current status quo. At least freeze it where it's at rather than roll it back. If they roll it back, um, you guys have to realize if they roll it back, that drops the barrier for entry really fucking far. And a whole bunch of different people that would have never considered becoming engine manufacturers all of a sudden will start stepping up to the plate, and you will start to see other companies compete on the stage for on highway and heavy duty diesel engines. And Cummins and Detroit and Cat and PACCAR, they can avoid that competition just by supporting um, keeping this bill from being enacted. So I think you'll see a shit ton of opposition from very powerful people, including inside the industry, besides far outside the industry, which would be your environmentalists and far leaning left. You're going to see so much opposition to a bill like this that, man, I'm as hopeful as everybody else, but I'm a realist. I really think that it's a pipe dream. I really do. I don't think you're going to see um, I don't think you're going to see anything come from this. I do think you're going to see some rolling back of EPA rules, but I don't think it will extend to guys driving around on the highway in their truck. There will roll back regulation for big corporations, huge companies. It doesn't benefit most of those guys like your Donald Trumps and your average congressman and stuff like that, that is getting kickbacks from huge corporations. They're not getting kickbacks from truck drivers, guys. They're focusing on the EPA. The EPA exists, and the portion of the EPA that focuses on highway trucks is not even a drop in the bucket of what the EPA does for overall regulation of industry in the United States. So we're nobodies to them. We're nobodies to them. And so I just don't have high hopes. I just don't. It would be really cool, and I'm watching it with interest like everybody else. But I see guys on TikTok already talking about openly talking about deleting trucks. You guys are crazy, man. You're fucking crazy. The EPA will still come bring your ass out, guaranteed. So be careful with all that for sure. Don't get overzealous. Don't get overexcited. Don't tell yourself just because some senator is introducing a bill. Look at, 15, 18 years ago, I was watching them introduce bill after bill every year. There was a new bill on the state level to legalize medical marijuana. And, I watched it get shot down in whatever state I happened to live in at the time, 6 or 7, 8 years in a row before it finally took, and all the people that were pot smokers would all be openly smoking pot the next time the new bill was up for consideration, because weed's going to be legal in a week, and it just never happened, and it never happened, and it never happened, and there's still states to this day where it's never happened. So again, I see all the hype, and I'm excited about it like everybody else, but don't get your hopes up. Anyway, I think that's it for tonight. Yeah. There's one more guy on hold. I went ahead and let him go. Sorry about that, buddy. We're way past the time of the show. I just wanted to hang out in the comment section. But it looks like those are winding out as well. I do appreciate all you guys joining the show here. Go ahead, Andrew. I'm still here. Ask a question if you want. I think it was a little bit better show. Able to let the TikTokers hear the caller. I have to do a lot of finagling over here on the Roadcaster for it not to get feedback when I'm trying to make it so TikTok can hear the caller. But it seems to work out pretty good. So that's kind of been making the show a little better. I did enjoy this show all around. Had a good audience, good callers, good commenters. Been the best show yet, I think. At least for me, I enjoyed it. What should I do with the X15 core engine? Well, what you should do with any core engine is, if you're not just trying to get rid of it quick, get rid of it to somebody like me, or somebody like me, not necessarily me. Somebody like me is going to give you, because the nature of what we're after is really just the block, the front and rear housing, valve train, and gears. The rest of it, for all intents and purposes, goes to the dumpster. So our price point's going to be somewhere between, 3,000 is the max limit we'll pay for any engine, and we go down from there. So if you have an engine that you think is worth more, the best place to sell that engine is usually to go somewhere like Facebook Marketplace. That's a really good place to sell something like an engine. The thing is guys will ask too much for engines on there. So let me kind of give you a good base point for pretty much any of your on-highway engines, whether it be a Cat or Cummins or Detroit. If you have a engine, a known running engine, good running engine, when you pull that out of the truck, usually the price point is somewhere between 8 and 12,000. The guys trying to sell them for 12,000 are usually trying to sell them for 12,000 for 6 months. The guys selling them for 8,000 usually get rid of them in a couple of weeks, and anything below that you can get rid of them pretty quick. If you have a core, when you're saying core motor, if you mean an engine that doesn't run, if you're asking more than 5 for it, you're probably going to have it forever. And even at 5, you're probably going to have it for a while. Hopefully that helps. What's a good turbo for a B model Cat? Usually any of your stock 550 capable turbos, the 132 are going to work okay on a B model. Unless it's a very low horsepowered B model, you might have some problems, but it was a great show till I commented. I don't know about that, brother. I believe the bill was signed by the president become last Thursday. I don't know of any bill that has went through it went through the House or the Senate, so I don't know what you're talking about. The president can't just sign bills that haven't went through the House and the Senate. Bob and Deborah did a big video on it. That's nice. I'm quite certain, and I could be wrong. Charlie, I hate B models. You hate B models that keep coming back to your shop for blow-by issues. Oh shit, we've all been there, brother. Yeah, I don't think Bob and Deborah are right. That the House and the Senate have both passed the bill, and the president just signed it. I don't think that's a true thing. But anyway, guys, I probably better wrap it up. What is your personal choice of chew? Well, I probably better let that be known. Black Buffalo. It is a tobacco-free alternative. It's cabbage leaves. They get huge cabbage leaves. They process them just like their tobacco. They dry them, and it's really good. It's really good. You can't tell the difference. But supposedly, your time here on Earth can tell the difference. So, anyway, guys, I'm gonna get going. Appreciate you guys joining. It's always a good time. I will see you next week, 7 to 9 Central Time. Just like always, keep your eyes open. We got several different turbo lines coming out next week. Hopefully, our injector lines will be out next week. As you guys see, we already have one turbo out. Our rings are finally here. Our special thermostat's going to be here week after next. Our kit should be dropping week after next. A lot of cool shit coming up over the next few days. So pretty exciting. Keep an eye on Hacknation for the next couple of weeks, guys. It's going to be a lot of cool shit. Have a good night. I'll see you next week.